Hello, Marcia Sue here, Yoga Flow and Glow. Today's the day. It is tax day. Happy taxes to you, I guess. This is the day we'll be giving away a Rodan & Fields Lash Boost. What is this? Well, it's a hydrating serum for the lashes applied where the lid and the lash meet nightly. And it encourages the eyelashes for growth, thickness, and darkness. So with regular use, your lashes look longer, they look thicker, and they look darker. And it works, I promise. Why am I doing this? Well, for a couple reasons. To increase my membership here on Yoga Flow and Glow, provide value to the members, and to share products that I love from Rodan & Fields. I sell them because I love them. I'm not a salesman. As you can tell, I just share my love of the products and hopefully get to make a little business out of it. That's the idea. So what I've done is, for the videos of March and what's part of April, everyone who commented or invited people to join the group, I put your name in a hat. Here's the hat. Here are the names. Everyone has the same size piece of paper. The more comments, the more numbers your name is in there. It took me a little while to figure all that out, but I did it. So we're going to do some hip openers first, and then I'll see if my cameraman, who is not my cameraman today, but he's here, I'll see if he will pick the winner. Okay, so let's do this. Make sure you have your mat. We're going to start off warming up the hips. So you're going to take your feet apart a little bit wider than shoulder distance, and they're slightly angled. We're going to inhale up, and then exhale. Have a seat. Keep the chest lifted. Pull the belly in so the tailbone is reaching down. Keep the knees over the heels. Inhale back up. Exhale. We're opening up those hips a little bit, starting to warm them up. Getting the glutes involved as you sit. Pull the belly in. Keep the shoulders away from the ears so they're not way up high. Inhale. Exhale. Sit. Pull that tailbone down. The weight is in the heels. The knees are right over those heels. Breathing with the movement. Keep that navel pulled into the spine. Exhale. Have a seat. Let's do two more. One more. And have a seat. Keep that chest lifted. Pull the belly up and in. Sit down a little bit deeper here. Try to get the hips in line with the knees, so you might have to take the feet open a bit. And then bring the hands to the knees. Slowly begin to give them a nice stretch. So we're stretching those adductors here. If you'd like, you can press one shoulder forward. And then the other shoulder as you push that knee out a bit. Easing into this here. Push the shoulder forward. Alternate. Let's do one more on each side. Gives you a nice stretch along the waistline. So you've got 5 adductor muscles that attach at the pubis and then attach at different lengths along the medial, which is the inside part of the thigh. So you're stretching each and every one of them a little bit differently. Now let's slide the hands down the calves to the ankles. Keep the chest lifted so we're not falling forward. Take the elbows, push them against the knees. Adjust the feet if you need to. Keep the spine nice and tabletop. Notice I'm not falling forward. And then really give those knees a nice stretch away. Take a deep breath. Keep that belly pulled in. And then slowly release. Inhale up. And then exhale. We're going to turn those feet. So now we're in a chair position. I'm going to slightly face you because of the angle. The shadows might construe what I'm trying to say. We want to keep the feet slightly separated so they're aligned underneath the hips. We're going to inhale up. Keep that belly pulled in. Exhale, sit back into a chair. Weight is in the heels. Chest is lifted, belly is in. I want you to touch behind the knees. Inhale. And exhale, slowly have a seat. Inhale. This really warms up the glutes. Really a great strengthener for the glutes and the core, but you got to keep the belly pulled in. Inhale. Exhale, have a seat. Touch behind those knees. Makes you go deeper into those glutes and the quads. We have a little mini anatomy lesson today as we talk about the muscles we're going to stretch. Completing our warm-up here. Touch back and then inhale on the way up. Good. Now we're going to turn to the top of the mat. We're going to go into a downward facing dog. So inhale up, reach up. Exhale, fully fold. Keep a bend in the knees. Belly is in, spine is straight, hands go to the floor. Now if you'd like, you can do a halfway lift. Feels really good to get the spine nice and long here, but the knees are bent, so the tension is out of the lower back. And then fully fold, step the feet back, one at a time, into our downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, the weight is on the inside of the wrist. The heels do not need to touch, and you can have a slight bend in the knees, but notice my spine. It needs to be completely straight. So if you're rounding your spine and the legs are straight, you got to change that. Bend the knees, straighten the spine. Breathe. Now take the right leg up, open up that hip into a three-legged dog. Keeping that left foot facing forward, drop the right shoulder, open up that hip, and then bring the right foot between the two hands and the left knee down to the floor. We're going into a low lunge pose, so walk the hands up. Your back foot should be nice and straight. Lower belly is pulled up and in, and the tailbone is stretching down. As you do that, you're going to feel that nice opening in that hip flexor. Simultaneously, you're pulling the right hip back, left hip forward, your right knee is right over that heel. Chest is lifted. Sink into this. I know it's not easy. We call this the drunk drawer because we like to hold emotions here. It's actually a combination of two muscles, the psoas major and the iliacus, so it's called the iliopsoas. They attach to the lumbar spine, run through the pelvic bowl, and attach anteriorly to the thigh, the femur. So it's the only major muscle that connects the spine to the lower body. So it's very active in our fight or flight responses, which a lot of us are in continually throughout the day. Plus we drive, which shortens it. We bike, we run, all shortens this muscle. That's why we're sitting here a little bit longer. Now, slowly walk those hands down. We're going to heel toe that right foot to the outside of our mat now. So I'm going to turn a little bit so you can see me a little bit better. Because I want your foot to be outside your shoulder. Both hands on the floor. If you have a little trouble with this hip, you can slightly externally rotate that right hip. Go onto that lateral border of the foot a bit, and it'll help you sink into that left hip. Take a breath here. You can stay right here with the hands on the floor, reaching the chest forward. If you'd like, you can try to bring the forearms to the floor, but if the spine rounds, just reverse back. Breathe here for a moment. This is a really deep stretch. This is called lizard pose. This is a really deep stretch for that iliopsoas. So we're going to hold it another breath. And we're going to walk the hands up. Your left hand stays on the floor. The right hand reaches back. If you can, take the foot. When you did that, the hips lifted. So sink them a little lower. Now as you pull the heel towards the bum, you're stretching the quadriceps, primarily the rectus femoris. It's the only one of the four that crosses the hip and the knee. So it's very active at both joints. So as you sink into the hip and as you pull the heel to the bum, that's what you feel. You're feeling that rectus femoris, one of the 4 quadriceps, really stretching. Breathe. I promise your hips are going to love you after this. And then slowly release. We're going to heel toe that right foot back to the center. And then we're going to sit back and change the stretch a bit. So, if you see me, my hips are stretching behind my knee. My chest is lifted, my spine is straight. Both hands are on the floor. If you need to, you can bring them up. However, I want you to bring the chest forward. And then it's as though you're pulling that right hip back. As you pull the toes towards you, you're getting a nice Achilles and calf stretch. But as you pull that right hip back, it's tractioning that hip joint. And that's a very difficult stretch to isolate. You should feel it in the belly of the muscle. You shouldn't feel it at the hip insertion or at the knee insertion. You should feel it in the belly of the muscle. So you may need to adjust your position if you feel it anywhere else. Chest is up. Pull those toes back. Now one more time, pull that heel slightly towards you. Good. Now we're going to go a little deeper into this hip. We're going to go into pigeon pose. So you're going to take that same foot and you're just going to turn the leg so that the foot slightly inward and that the knee comes between the 2 hands. This is pigeon pose. If you look at the back leg, it's nice and straight. The ankle is straight. If you come back forward, you're staying buoyant. The 2 hips are square, the 2 shoulders are square. As you slide into the posture, I want you to pull the right toes back towards the shin. There's a connection there at the piriformis. It's one of your deep 6 rotators. And then when you're ready, you can stay right here. A lot of you will feel this right here just fine. But if you're ready, come onto those forearms. Once again, we don't want the spine to round here, so keep lifting the chest forward. So we're going to stay here for a few breaths. So I'll talk to you a little bit about these deep rotators. There's 6 of them and they're small, but they are mighty. They externally rotate the hip, and a lot of us are perpetually in that position anyway due to driving, biking. So the position of the hip here with the knee and the hip flexed really gets very deep into those deep rotators. But keep rolling to your left. If your right knee is bent like mine, you're rolling to the opposite side. We're going to take one more breath. And then we're going to come up slowly with the hands. Untuck that foot. Bring the leg slightly forward, and that allows that other leg some room to come back. From this position, we're going to press back into our down dog. Remember, the weight is on the inside of the wrist. The knees can be bent because we want the spine to be straight. Take a breath, and then we're going to open up that left hip. So you're going to press the left shoulder down. The right toes need to face forward so you can raise the heel if needed, but keep those 2 shoulders square to the mat. And then bring that leg in between. Come down onto that right knee. And then the hands come up for low lunge. So in low lunge, the back foot is nice and straight. The heel is behind the knee. We're going to sink low, keeping the front knee in front over the front heel. And then you're going to simultaneously pull the left hip back, the right hip forward, pull that lower belly up and in, and see if you can stretch that tailbone down. You'll go a little deeper into that iliopsoas on the right. Remember, it's a combination of 2 muscles, the iliacus and the psoas major. Attaches at the lumbar spine, through the pelvic bowl, and attaches at the anterior hip. So it's always fired up. It's one of our fight or flight muscles. And as we sink into it, a lot of us want to resist this. But I'm telling you, if you can let go and breathe into this hip stretch, you will really feel a big difference. Now we're going to slowly release the hands to the floor. Walk this foot to the outside of your mat. That way it's wider than your shoulder, but the heel is still underneath the knee for the protection of the knee joint. If you're ready, you can stay right here, externally rotate the thigh. That kind of brings you to the lateral border of the foot. That's okay. If you'd like, and you can keep the spine straight, you can come all the way down. You can stay in the camera here, onto the forearms. So realize you've got to keep lifting the chest forward. So if this is too much, just back off. I want you to be able to stay here for a few breaths. This is that junk drawer we were talking about. We hold a lot of emotions in this muscle. I've even had students cry after holding this posture for a long time, not because they were in pain, but because there's an emotional release along with it. Take another breath. I won't cry for you, I promise. Not tonight anyway. And then slowly walk those hands up. Reach back with the opposite arm so you're rotating, and then if you can, take the foot. Now we're going to sink those hips lower again because they lifted up. Keep the chest lifted, and we're going to pull that heel towards the bum. How? Why, I should say? Because we're isolating that rectus femoris. It's one of those quadricep muscles, the only one, that crosses the hip and the knee. So it only gets stretched when you extend the hip and you flex the knee, which is what this posture is doing. So take another breath, and then slowly release. Heel toe that foot back to the center. We're going to sit back into a half split. So in half split, the chest is up. My hips are pulling back. My toes are flexed. The leg is nice and straight, and I'm dragging the heel towards me. That helps you get a nice traction stretch from the joint, but you should feel the stretch at the belly of the muscle. So keep the chest up. Pull that heel towards you without sliding it. Take another deep breath here. And then we're going to release into a nice pigeon. Heel toe that foot towards the edge of the mat. That brings the knee between the two hands. Look back at the back leg. We want the ankle straight and the leg parallel to the mat. You can even slightly internally rotate so you're not weight bearing through that kneecap. And then pull those front toes towards the shin. As you come back forward, you're staying buoyant. Shoulders, hips are squared forward. When you're ready, we're going to start walking the hands down. Now you're rolling to the right here. When you're ready, the hands can come to the floor, forearms to the floor, or you can stay lifted if this is enough for you. Typically one side is much tighter than the other. You'll know that by now, which side is your tighter side. If you're ready, go ahead and walk it down. So you're continually rolling to the right here. We're opening up those deep rotators of the hip. How many of them are there? There are 6. They're small but mighty, and they're usually always very tight. So with the hip in this hyperflexed position, you're really getting deep into those rotators. So we're going to slowly come out of it. Before you move, untuck that back foot. Let the leg come forward. That allows the front knee to come back without twisting. We're going to press back into a down dog. Take a moment. Press into the floor. Reach the heels towards the floor. Pressing the chest towards the thighs. And then come on to the knees. Bring the big toes to touch. Separate the knees. Reach the arms out so the palms face each other. The wrists are in line with the shoulders. Keep the hips and the head suspended, and then drag the arms toward you. This is a great stretch for the whole spine, the hips, the shoulders. And then slowly release. Well, our cameraman has not joined us yet, so I will do the honors of choosing our winner. And this means a lot to me that you all are joining in on this. It is a fantastic prize. I won't lie to you about that. But I'm sharing because I believe so much in these products. I've loved the results I've gotten, and so that's why I'm sharing the love, so to speak. So I'm not gonna look, I promise. I'm gonna mess up the names. They all feel the same. Every piece of paper is the exact same size. So who's it gonna be for this lash boost? This is so exciting. I've got a name here. And this is someone who has entered a lot. She invited a lot of people to join Yoga and Flow and Glow. She's made a lot of comments. I know she's doing yoga herself. She's following along. It is Miss Vita Millard. Yes, Vita, you won the lash boost. So I know you're in the Sun City area. If you like, I can put it in the mail to you. Or I will be up there this week, Tuesdays and Thursday, I think. So reach out to me, send me a message, let me know where you'll be. And congratulations. I hope you all enjoyed the hip openers. I feel pretty good. I hope you do too. Mwah. Namaste.